Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Chem Insider. So in today's class we are going to start about the new chapter. This is chapter 4, chemical bonding and structure of molecules. So that chemical bonding, so what is a chemical bonding? Before going to what is chemical bonding, first we need to discuss about certain topics which you have already learned in the previous chapters. So those are, we know what is a matter, right? So matter are the substances which have certain mass and occupy certain spaces. And in that particular chapter, we discussed about the formation of molecule of an element or a molecule of a compound. That is, if two or more atoms of the same element. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Chem Insider. So in today's class, we are going to start about the new chapter. This is chapter 4, chemical bonding and structure of molecules. So that chemical bonding, so what is a chemical bonding? Before going to what is chemical bonding, first we need to discuss about certain topics which you have already learned in the previous chapters. So those are, we know what is a matter, right? So matter are the substances which have certain mass and occupy certain spaces. And in that particular chapter, we discussed about the formation of molecule of an element or a molecule of a compound. That is, if two or more atoms of the same element get combined, they form a molecule of an element. If two or more atoms of two different elements combine, they form as a compound. So we said they get combined. We didn't say how they are going to combine, right? So what is this particular theory which explains the particular attraction of those elements of different atoms to get combined with one another and stay combined for a longer duration? So that particular force of attraction which is holding these two elements, these two atoms of same element or different element, is called the chemical bond. So what is a chemical bond means? It is the force of attraction which is responsible for holding two or more atoms of same or different element to be combined for a longer duration of certain period of time until or unless they are disturbed by different elements. Okay, so now how can you explain this particular bonding nature? Like for example, if you are observing helium, neon, argon, krypton, that is noble gases, won't react with any of the other elements in order to show their bonding nature. Whereas certain elements show very high tendency to get bonded with other elements and certain don't combine with one another and some get combined with one another. So how can we understand all these concepts that is completely through this particular chapter of chemical bonding and a molecular structure. So in order to explain those all questions, that is how are these molecules are formed, why two elements will be reacting with one another, why other two elements are not reacting with one another, and all these concepts were explained by certain theories put forth by certain scientists in a given intervals of time. So out of that, the first theory which explained the nature of chemical bonding was proposed by Koslin and Lewis. That is, the scientists Koslin and Lewis proposed the first theory to explain the bonding of atoms in a given molecule. So these two scientists in the period of time of 1916 proposed a certain explanation where they explained how an atom or a molecule of an atom is reacting with one another to form a bonds. Okay, so out of that, what we're going to do is we're first going to discuss what Lewis explained, and then we'll discuss about what Koslin explained. Okay, and we have furthermore theories such as valence shell VSEPR theory, that is called valence shell electron pair repulsion theory, and we also have valence bond theory, and then we have molecular bond theory, molecular band theory. So these are the certain different theories which were proposed by several scientists in order to explain the chemical bonding involved in a chemical's atoms which are involved in the periodic table. So first we are going to discuss about is Kossalin and Lewis theory for chemical bonding. So, Kossalin and Lewis theory was proposed by these two scientists in the year 1916, where first Lewis came across a proposition that whenever an atom has to form an element, or whenever an atom has to form a molecule, it has to either obtain certain amount of ionization enthalpy, or it has to lose certain amount of energy, that is nothing but the electron gain enthalpy. As we have discussed in the previous videos, we can say that an atom might lose an electron or an atom might gain an electron. So Lewis said that if two or more atoms has to get bonded with one another, they either have to lose electron or they either have to gain electron. Okay, they either have to lose electron or they have to gain electron and form respective ionic species. Okay, so these two ionic species or these two ionic constituents are held by a force of attraction. So what is that particular force of attraction? So all this was explained by Lewis. So Lewis said that the number of valence electron present in the valence shell of an atom, that is the number of electrons present in the valence shell of an atom, has to be represented by the chemical bonding nature. That is, if an element is forming a chemical bond, if an element or atom is forming a chemical bond, it completely depends upon the valence electrons present in it. Like for example, if you consider sodium and if you consider halogens such as fluorine, okay, this sodium and fluorine are separated by noble gas, that is neon, right? So if you write it exactly, fluorine with atomic number 9, neon with atomic number 10 and sodium with atomic number 11. So these halogen and an alkali metal will be respectively separated by a noble gas, right? So these halogens and alkali metal are separated by a noble gas. So what happens here is the atoms sodium and fluorine try to lose an electron and gain an electron respectively. These atoms sodium and fluorine try to lose an electron or gain an electron respectively to show a chemical bonding nature. If you consider for the sodium atom loses an electron to form Na plus, right? Sodium atom loses an electron to form Na plus, whereas fluorine gains that electron to form F. Fluorine gains that electron to form F minus. So what Lewis considered as a nucleus with a number of inner electrons as a kernel, that is a kind of a cube. So if you consider a cube of this type, so it has 8 corners, right? It has got 8 corners. So Lewis said that each atom, in order to form a molecule or a compound, it has to obtain a stable octet configuration. Lewis said that each atom of an element, in order to form a molecule or a compound, has to obtain a stable octet structure. That is, it should carry 8 electrons in its valence shell so that it can be available to form compounds which are more stable. So if you consider for sodium, which has 11 electrons, so therefore its valence shell will be having 1 electron. So if you place an electron in one corner of the cube, the particular 7 corners will be empty, right? If you consider for the fluorine atom which has 7 electrons in its valence shell, will be having 7 electrons in its particular 7 corners, leaving behind one empty corner. So therefore what Lewis said was, an atom can donate an electron to a corner which is empty. Okay, an atom can donate an electron from its own shell in order to obtain stable electronic configuration and fill an empty electron of a different element. Now sodium can lose this electron, and the electron which is lost can be accumulated in the 8th corner of an halogen atom. So now fluorine has obtained its octet configuration and sodium too has obtained its octet configuration. That is, initially it was 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. So now if we remove the 3s1 electron, so it will be having 8 electrons in its outermost shell. Alright, so therefore what we can say is, according to Lewis, if an atom has to form a molecule, it either has to lose electron or it either has to gain electron. In some cases, if the atoms are of same element, what happens is they mutually share those electrons. If atoms are of same element, they mutually share those electrons. Like for example, if you consider chlorine, the chlorine atom, if you consider this is the valence shell, it has 7 electrons in its valence shell, right? And we consider one more valence shell of chlorine, so which has 7 electrons in it. So now this chlorine atom and this chlorine atom both can share this electron with a bigger manner, such as like this. So now if you calculate the total number of electrons in chlorine, it has 8 for this and 8 for this, where the 2 electrons are mutually shared by the chlorine atoms. So therefore Lewis said that if atoms have to be bonded with different atoms, they have to completely transfer electron from one atom to another. If a compound has to be formed, then electron has to be completely transferred from one atom to another atom. And if a molecule has to be formed of the same element, then it has to mutually share those electrons. Okay, in case of sodium bonding with fluorine, it is completely transferring its electron to fluorine atom. In case of 2 chlorine atoms being a molecule, it is sharing those electrons. So this is how Lewis explained the bonding in case of atoms of a molecule. Now further he gave away a notation. He explained the symbolic notation in order to know how many bonds or how the elements are getting bonds. Okay, so therefore we call it as Lewis symbols. So Lewis proposed a symbolic representation for elements with respect to dots, which are nothing but their valence electrons, and these symbolic representation are called as Lewis symbols. Like for example, if you are writing for lithium, it has one valence electron, so it carries one dot upon it. Beryllium, which has 2 electrons, carries 2 dots. Boron carries 3 dots because it has 3 valence electron. Carbon carries 4 dots. Nitrogen carries 5 dots. Nitrogen has 5 dots. Oxygen has 6. Fluorine has 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And neon, which is stable with 8 electrons, carries 8 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So an atom, if it has to form a stable electronic configuration, it has to gain its respective noble gas configuration. So this is how he explained the elements will be forming bonds. Next, Koechlin, with the help of Lewis' explanation, explained that we can explain the formation of bonds in case of atoms using 4 respective postulates or 4 respective particular observation, in which in the first observation he said that halogens and alkali metals. Koechlin said that halogens and alkali metals are clearly separated by a noble gas configuration, because if you consider halogen, it is present in the 17th group and alkali metal is present in the first group, right? So the only difference between the halogen and its respective next alkali metal is a noble gas. Therefore, halogen can obtain a noble gas configuration by gaining an electron, and alkali can obtain a noble gas configuration by losing an electron. So therefore, in the second point he said that halogens gains an electron to form negative ion. Halogen gains an electron to form negative ion, whereas alkali metal loses an electron to form positive ion. Alkali metal loses an electron to form positive ion. So this is about the second point. So in the third point he said that halogen gains those electrons and alkali metal loses those electrons in order to obtain a noble gas configuration of octet structure. Remember, It is just for other octets like neon, argon, krypton. We do not consider helium as an octet structure because helium has duplet structure. Helium has duplet electronic structure, but all other noble gases have octet electronic configuration. So, in the third point he said that halogen and alkali metals usually tend to obtain noble gas configuration to form negative and positive ion respectively. So if halogen is forming a negative ion, it carries a noble gas configuration. Alkali metal, if it loses an electron, it forms a noble gas configuration. Okay. So fourth point, he said that these two negative and positive ions, the two negative and positive ions are held by a strong electrostatic force. These alkali metal, which is forming a negative ion, alkali metal which is forming a positive ion, and halogen which is forming a negative ion are held by a strong electrostatic force. Okay, so that electrostatic force is nothing but the bond which results in that electrostatic force is nothing but the bond which results between halogen and an alkali metal. Okay, so these are the 4 points which Kosellein used to explain the chemical bonding in case of atoms or ions. So how did he explain this particularly? If you consider for an example, let us say sodium loses an electron to form Na plus E minus. Okay, so here number of electrons here is 11. That is what we can say is neon plus 1. We can say that as number of electrons present in neon plus 1 electron. So now if it loses an electron, now it clearly becomes neon. Okay, now it clearly becomes neon. Next, if you consider chlorine, so chlorine has neon plus 7 electrons. Chlorine has neon plus 7 electrons. If you add 1 electron to it, it becomes Cl minus with neon plus 8, which is nothing but argon. Right? Neon plus 8 electrons is nothing but argon. So, sodium is trying to obtain electronic configuration similar to neon, and chlorine is trying to obtain the electronic configuration similar to argon. So, if you consider this as two simultaneous equations, that is x plus y is equal to something and x plus 2y is equal to something, and you add up these two reactions, what can we say is 1 electron and 1 electron get cancelled. What we can clearly say is Na plus Cl gives us Na plus Cl minus, which is nothing but our compound NaCl. Okay, so this is how a molecule of ions related to one another through a chemical bond, which is nothing but electrostatic force of attraction, is formed. Now, Kosellein used an explanation to define a co-chemical bond, that is, a chemical bond is a strong electrostatic force of attraction which holds together a negative and positive ion. This particular bond is called electrovalent bond. Okay, the force of attraction which holds a negative and a positive ion in a compound or a molecule of a compound is called electrovalent bond. So usually in case of sodium and chlorine we form electrovalent bond. Okay, so what is a chemical bond or what is a bond is the force of attraction which holds together a negative and a positive ion is called the electrovalent bond, which is nothing but the chemical bond in case of ions formed. Okay, so this is about the Kosellein and Lewis theory. Now, if you come across a new important rule for a molecule to form a structure, that is known as octet rule. So, what is this octet rule? So, Lewis in the year 1916 proposed that, and Kosellein also accepted that particular rule, where both of them said that if an atom has to form a molecule with a compound, if an atom has to react with one more atom in order to form a compound holding a particular number of bonds, it has to obtain a stable outermost electronic configuration of Ns2Np6. That is, if you consider an atom to form a compound, if you want an atom to form a compound, it should have a stable outermost electronic configuration similar to noble gas with 8 electrons. So 8 is nothing but octet. So therefore that particular rule of 8 electrons which has to be obtained by an element in order to form a compound is called the octet rule. So octet rule is a rule where if an atom has to form a compound, it has to obtain 8 electrons in its valence shell. That is what we call it as the octet rule. Okay, so this is all about for today. In the next class, we will discuss more about this particular topic. And if you have understood this video, please do subscribe to my channel and share this video among your friends and ask them to subscribe to the channel, and so that they can get more updates of the videos which I'm going to post. Thank you for watching.